Hi, and welcome to Ivan's Art Creation. Today's video is going to focus on the power of having a strong analogy in your presentations, in your conversation, taking something very complex, pairing it with an analogy that creates a roadmap to something that's very familiar. So a well-chosen analogy just doesn't explain it. It converts it from understanding it from the head to the gut. And that's where you feel it. That's what creates massive impact in your presentations when you're sharing something very complex. So let's unpack of what a strong analogy does to your presentations, your conversations, or your ideas. You see, the other day I was in an event where I had the chance to evaluate the seasoned speaker, a professional speaker. I went a little early to learn his state, how he was feeling. So got there, started his small talk, and I say, "Hey Peter, how's your week going?" And he shares with me how exhausted and tired he is from the week. He's been hanging out with people half his size. He's 40 years old. He's been hanging out with 20-year-olds, and he's been going park to park to park on roller coasters. And he says, "I'm exhausted." And I say, Peter, what are we going to speak about today? I'm your evaluator. What do you want me to focus? And he shares with me, says, "Ivan, today I'm going to talk about faith." And I said, what about faith? So complex. How can you cover that in 5 to 7 minutes? He says, "Ivan, faith is like a roller coaster." Then it hit me. It was in my head, but all of a sudden, when he mentioned roller coaster, it transferred that understanding from my head to my gut. And that's where I felt it, the impact. And that's what a strong analogy does. It pairs it with something very familiar and creates a shortcut to a very complex idea like faith. So faith might be a really engaging topic, but when you pair it with roller coaster, it helps you remember it. So roller coaster, what it does, it hits on all these kind of dimensions, emotions, logic, and sensory. So when you have a roller coaster and it helps explain something very complex like faith, there's this idea of when you're riding a roller coaster. And I just remember the other day I was in a roller coaster down in SeaWorld, the Atlantis. And when you go up there, you grip on those things. There's this idea of trusting, just like faith. There's trust of the unseen, unheard, something you can't sense it, but you trust it. And you're climbing up. And when you hit the peak, there's a drop. Your stomach drops. There's the unknowns and doubts, just like faith. Uncertainty, the unknown, your stomach drops. And there's a sense of just letting go, surrendering for the need of control, the uncertainty. That's what this analogy did. It created this pathway, this shortcut into something very complex like faith. And what it did, it provided those handlebars where you can trust. When you don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't smell it, but it's there. It's the unseen. That's like faith. And when your stomach drops, there's doubt, unknown, a loved one passed away, there's a trust of just letting go. This idea of surrendering, this need of control, of uncertainty. That's what faith is like. So next time you're explaining a very complex topic, if you pair it with a well-chosen analogy, it just doesn't explain it. It transfers, converts that understanding from what's in your mind, your head, to your gut. You end up feeling it. And that's where the impact and power is of a strong chosen analogy. Try it in your next presentation, in your next conversation. Choose the right analogy to create massive impact in your presentations, in your conversations, Go out there and create the impact that you're meant to create.